Hey, I'm Mr. Ghost. If you love true horror stories, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. The stories you'll hear are shared by our audience from Reddit, and to keep their original essence, I read them exactly as they were written. Before we begin, let me know in the comments, where in the world are you listening from? Now, let's dive into the darkness. I had made up my mind. I was moving to Alaska. My family did not get it, and neither did my job when I handed in my resignation. But honestly, I could not care less. For the first time in a long while, I was making a decision for me. Just me. 7 years as a wildlife photographer had given me a front row seat to some of the most incredible landscapes on the planet. I got paid to chase the light and capture moments most people only dream of. I would not trade that for anything. But the truth is, what I loved most was not the fame or the paycheck. It was the isolation, the wilderness, the feeling of being small in a world so big it humbles you. That is why, after years of roaming the wilds for work, I decided to take the leap. I sold everything I did not need and saved every penny. Then, I bought a small plot of land off the grid, completely removed. There were animals to photograph, landscapes to explore, and solitude to savor. The difference now was that it would be on my own time, and by my own rules. I would not be reporting to anyone or rushing through my shots. No deadlines, just me, the land, and the quiet. I packed up everything, my hiking gear, camping equipment, all my cameras, and all the off-grid essentials. I shipped it all off to Alaska, and then, with one final breath, I booked my flight. When I arrived, I was surprised to see that the mobile home company was already getting to work. They had already set up the foundation, and the truck was unloading everything fast. They worked with a quiet efficiency. I just stood back and watched as they moved my new home into place. The airport I landed in was smaller than I expected. One of those airports where you do not bother looking at the signs because they are unnecessary. After a short wait, I was on another small plane. This one barely bigger than a glorified propeller, and it took me about 45 miles out to where my new life would begin. The land was better than I had hoped. It was just as wild and quiet as I imagined, surrounded by trees, with a creek running through the property, and the wildlife preserve just beyond the tree line. I had made sure to buy land that was close to that, for the photo opportunities, of course, but also because I needed to feel like I was truly out there, alone. It felt real now. This was not some dream or distant plan. It was happening. Once the workers were done, I spent the next few days unloading my stuff and setting up. I set up the generator without a hitch, and I got the satellite dish set up with minimal fuss. It was not a perfect system, but it was enough. I did not need a lot of distractions. I had everything I needed, and most of it did not require electricity. The first few weeks went by in a blur of hard work. I chopped firewood, set up a few traps, built a small shed to store tools, and started planning my first hunt. The quiet was something I was still adjusting to, but I loved it. There were no honking cars, no traffic, no annoying neighbors, just the occasional song of a bird or the rustling of the trees in the wind. When I went into town to grab some supplies, I could feel the stares. Most of the people there had lived in Alaska for generations. They looked at me like I was an outsider. And I was, but I did not mind. I did not come here to make friends. I went home with everything I needed. The canned goods, the gear, the extras I had not realized I was missing. I spent the evening organizing everything, taking my time, trying to make it feel more like home. It was already starting to. That's it for tonight's stories. But the nightmares never end. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new upload. Got a scary experience of your own? Share it in the comments. I just might feature it in a future video. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, some things are scarier than they seem in the dark.